Good. This is LOISYCA'S Fashion and Style. This is a blouse with a bust here. I want you to follow me up while I explain the way I sketch this blouse. You can see it on this paper look. I want you to understand that this is a shoulder blouse with an armhole, with a yoke on the upper neck. This is a net up side of it. That is here. I am showing you now. Look at it very well. As a designer, you have to understand. But I want you to please to rate this drawing and explanation the way I'm not going to narrate this blouse. You're gonna enjoy it very well. So here, this part is the shoulder part of it. From these folded parts, here is the neck. From the folded parts, I measure out the neck. Here is the back neck. Here is the back neck. Here is the front neck. The lower, this lower one is the front neck from shoulder to the cuff side. The back side, I have 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch to trace my zip allowance. Here on the waist, I have 1 inch to trace my zip allowance here. Below, I have 2 inches. You can see it's wider to trace my zip allowance out. This zip allowance part is the back part of it. I used to cut my clothes double. If I'm cutting, I used to fold into 4. Here is that line. I remove 3.5, the waist below, so all through 3.5 to sketch out this pattern. 3.5 up. So from the shoulder to the chest side is the yoke part of it. Let me call it with the original name, the illusion part of it. So is the net up. I'm going to use nets to do it, to trace it out. From shoulder to under the bust, you can see the line of the under the bust, the dashed line. This very dashed line is the shoulder to under the bust. Now, if you want to create a corset line, shoulder to the nipple, here is the shoulder to the nipple, shoulder to the nipple. So, shoulder to the under the bust. So, because I'm creating a corset line, I have to take it up. As I see, allow this dashed line to be here. I take 1 inch between the dashed line, take 1 inch up above, 1 inch up to cut here under the bust. The main under the bust now because of corset line. This is 1 inch. The dashed line is the original under the bust because it's a corset cup, a corset bust here. So here is the shoulder to the waist, shoulder to the waist. Sometimes I usually have this shoulder to the waist like 18 inches, commonly 18 inches, 17 inches or 17.5. Shoulder to the bottom, the hem side, in the blouse length. I want you to follow me up so you can have little idea of how I cut this blouse. Despite the camera is not too bright, I believe you're going to grab one thing that will really interest you with this blouse. Here you can see double lines. This line is being extracted with 1 inch extraction from the outer one to the inner one. Do you know why I have this line here? This 1 inch. You know why I have this line? My front side, I used to fold my blouse. This is front and back all together. This front side is I'm not going to cut the dart line. This dart line here, I am not going to cut it, but I will cut it on the back side. So that 1 inch is representing the measurements. The 1 inch I'm going to use to join the dart line of the back side, in same allowance of the back side. So that is why I have this 1 inch. So this side is the back side. Back part of it. Then here is the front part of it. So I have to write it out so you understand very well. Front parts. So on this front part, I'm not going to cut the dart line because it's a corset I'm going to make. I don't usually cut my dart lines when I'm making corset because I'm going to do the piping inside. Even if I'm going to do the piping outside, I don't need dart lines on my corset. So my corset looks very simple while I'm explaining it. So the same thing. So this cup you look at it very well, though I use paper, try to really enter my camera space, be able to understand what is going on here. So let's go to the original part, this round, the cup side, from shoulder to the chest, from shoulder to the chest, where the yoke or the illusion part of it. I use 6 inches from shoulder to the chest up, the net up side. This net up side I use from shoulder 6 inches. Measure it out. Here on the center from the shoulder net up side, I use 8 inches to measure it out. 8 inches to measure it out from shoulder to this lower part of the center front neck of the illusion. So here is it. On the armpit side, I use 8 inches as well. 8 inches from the shoulder below. On the armpit side, on the armhole side, use 8 inches. 8 inches. You can see I have double lines on this armpit side. So watch. There I have -1.5. Here is 1.5, 1.5 to cut out. Cut out. You see this space? You're going to cut it out to get your fitting of the armhole, so that there won't be any excess when the person is fitting her dress. You see, this pattern have helped me. It's been helping me to send clothes abroad without complaint. People will wear my clothes abroad, wherever, any location they are, they will say, the clothes just enter. It enter me, no adjustment to both the armhole. Everything is just gum on my body. Everything just fits on my body. So this is the pattern I use. So I do all my cutting at once. It's not when I'm cutting, when I'm sewing, I will be trimming. I will do all my cutting at the spot. So you see this curve. This is the side curve and the center curve. So this side curve from here to the nipple, you see an arrow. Sketching this arrow for you to know this point of the dot line. I use 3 inches and trace it out. 3 inches and trace out this cup side. Then this other way is an arrow again, 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches, that is 2.5 inches. It was supposed to be 3 inches, but I have to drop something on the other side, like 1 inch. 1 inch. Then if you open it wide, it's going to be 2 inches. But after sewing, after the joining, half inch joining, it's going to maintain 1 inch on this center chest line. So you see, I believe you're grasping something. Okay, I have to do my cutting now. So you have to watch very well the way I cut the part I'm going to cut and the part I'm not going to cut. First of all, I have to show you that I folded it into 4. The front side and the back side. You watch how I cut it. First of all, I'm taking my armhole. My armhole first. Cut the armhole out to that outside line. That outside line, the first line. There is where I'm cutting. The first line that is concerning the back side. So this is the downside, the base side of the blouse. I have to curve it out. This is the shoulder part of the blouse. I have to cut it out. That cut out, I usually do it with 3/4 inches. 3/4 inches. So that is not half, more than half. You know where 3/4 line used to be. Study your measurement very well. You understand it very well. So this is my back line first, back neck line first. I have to cut the back neck line together with the front. Then on the front side, I have to take it out. The front side, I have to carry it up in the folded part and cut it. It's folded into 2, while the back is folded into 2, but it has an opening of zip allowance. Then I'm cutting my zip line, my back zip allowance, I'm done cutting. You see, very beautiful. It's as if it's already on someone's body. This LOISYCA fashion and style. Don't forget, we are good in training people. We are really good in training people. A lot of students have testified. They've learned work with me. Many of them are doing well today. So follow up with LOISYCA fashion and style. Please don't mind my camera. Very soon I'm gonna get a good camera for you guys to enjoy my patterns of work. Very simple pattern. This is hand free. It's not something that you keep calculating. Then I'm now cutting the inner one, being the front side. That one that I will not put the dart line. I have to cut out that dart line allowance. The 1 inch I'm supposed to use in joining my dart line. Since it's not going to have that line, I don't need to keep it. I have to cut it out. Then the back side is going to have that line. That's why I have to allow it to be there. Then I'll cut it out. So this is my yoke, my illusion part of the neck. Sorry, so I'm cutting. Some people used to call it yoke anyway. I call it illusion. Net up. That's what my common name. I call it net up or lace up. I can call it lace up. I can call it net up blouse. So this is how I cut it, my net up. You see, I cut from the straight line up above. Then the second line, you remember when I told you that you're going to do a cutout there? I'm cutting it out. You see my right up where I put cutouts. That is out. It's out. So it's out. It has given it a very fine shape dropping. So my front layer is ready. You see the yoke. You see the yoke pattern. So this yoke pattern is being created again. I have to recut it with the original net or whatever, but I'm just trying to place it on this material for you to understand. I use 1 inch additional, 1 inch additional below. Then you see it now. Let's cut the original part. This is 1 inch additional below on the armhole side. You see the shape, how I take it up. All this pattern, all these things, yeah, I shape out like this. Is going to help you to cut out the armpit very well. Yeah, it's going to help you to get your armhole, the armpit part of it very well. Your armhole is going to lap on that person's body. No matter where the person stays, it's not going to undergo too much fitting. Even if the person is not around, the person will fit this dress and it will be okay. This is my secret too. I have to give you my secret now. I'm just trying to give it. Just give me like on this video. Despite the camera is not so bright, try and drop your like. Try and share. Likely you can see comments. So this is my lace up. I've added 1 inch for my lace up. This 1 inch I added, you can ask a question that why do I add this 1 inch? It's for my joining, because I'm going to join it back on that blouse. I'm going to join it back. So this 1 inch now, you know, our joining used to be half inch. This other one we donate half. The other side we donate half. Then that is the 1 inch you're seeing here. So this is the 1 inch joining. That is why I added 1 inch. So it's folded. Remember, don't forget this front part is to be folded because the blouse itself is still folded, unless you're trying to make different style out of it. Folded. Don't forget it's folded though. Okay, so just trying to show you that it's folded. So the original pattern is there already. This is LOISYCA fashion and style. Keep watching. You're going to understand one thing. You're going to go home or just take to your mind one thing today that you learn from this blog. And if you follow it up, you're going to do a very wonderful work. This is the cup side. I have to cut out this cup side only from the front layer, front part of this blouse. I have to cut out front. Watch the line I'm cutting it out from. The upper part. Not really the original under the bust line, but the upper part, because it's a corset, so it's going to sit very well on the. It's going to, you know, corset cup or corset bustier. When somebody is wearing bra, it will pack up. So that is why corset cup has to go up this way. So it's going to pack up the person's breast because you have to use padded to do it, breast cup padded to do it. So this is the cup, it's out here. So I'm going to show you how you create this cup out to form it to be very good cup, round shape of it. Now it's very flat, so for you to make it to look round, boost up like a cup or a breast, I have cut the line, the center line. Remember this right side is the center front, while the left bigger side is the side cup side of it. So what are you going to do here now? I'm going to show you how you put a pattern that you create cup, normal cup that will boost up the bust. So what is the secret? What do we have to do? We have placed our main material to record that very pattern. I usually cut my blouses with lining. I cut my blouse with lining. Can you equally use your paper to cut, then to recut it? So I cut, after cutting it, that is what we call pattern. So it's a pattern drafting, but my drafting is not too complicating. If you look very, it's not complicating. So this part, I added 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch on this center, the part you're seeing 3.5 line, the nipple point I have to add. Here I have to add 1 inch, just as I do on that illusion for our joining part. So here is 1.5. I have to sketch from the line below. If you have a French curve, don't forget to use your French curve. But I'm a good artist. I draw very well. So I don't usually do my work with a French curve. That's why I call it hand-free. I don't do those things. But as a student, as a new student that is learning how to draw, you should use a French curve. So this is it. 1.5. 1 inch. 1.5 up. Here we have half inch up, to really help your blouse to get a fine shape, fine W shape on the chest side. Very beautiful, and wow. Follow up. You can ask me questions on the comment section. I'm going to reply as soon as possible. Okay, I have to cut it out. Please pardon me on my camera. My camera is not too bright, but just believe you're seeing what I'm doing here. Pardon me, my camera is not too bright. Don't worry, God will give us phone, very good phone. Okay, so I have passion in fashion designing, so I don't actually let down on my efforts. I try my best to show people out there what I have. So the same thing on the other side too, on the center front, the same thing I did on this very side, the previous one now, previous cup, that is what I'm doing here too. Same thing. So I just added half inch again, 1 inch for the joining. You see, I've got then 1.5 over here for the cup, breast point, nipple point to shoot out. It has shoot out. So if you can do your sewing with half inch joining, to join all this pattern with half inch, my dear, you're not going to regret your sewing. Sometimes I don't find this difficult making this style. Just as easy as close my eyes and achieve what I want. Okay, I'm just trying to write it out. So sometimes when you cut, you have to place your right top so I won't forget, because the top doesn't look alike, despite one is bigger than one. So this is the side part, the side original part, while this is the center original part. When you join it together, it's going to give you complete cup, breast that is attractive. Bobby, this is our artificial bobby, bra cup, bustier, whatever you call it. Okay, so I'm just trying to bring out to puzzle it This is our side front. I have part of the front side. You see it now. So when I'm cutting it, I don't need this line of that. I don't need that line anymore because it's a corset. I'm going to use piping to pipe it with sewable bone and a thicker bone to make sure you get what you want when you snatch it on the person's body. You see? After joining it, wow, you admire your work before you give it to the owner. In fact, before you put it on, if it's yours, you will admire your work. This is wonderful work from LOISYCA'S Fashion and Style. Yes, my work. I'm not trying to boast here, but people like my work. Whoever I deliver work for doesn't live to thank me. What they will do is to call me on phone. Hello, LOISYCA. This is perfect. In fact, I don't have any problem. Unless if the person say, I'd like to lose it small, it's very tight on me, or it's very loose. But all those ones are just something of choice. But normal, my dress is to fit very well. I have to confess that. This is my bag. I wanted to just capture something I'm doing on this back side now. Take attention to this back part of it. On this yoke line, the lace up side, the illusion part of it. Take attention to this place. I'm writing something on the panel. I'm putting right up on. Just take attention to that place. The lace up panel. I have to cut it out. Remember, I put that line on this back now. But I want you to take attention to the lace up panel part of it. Here. Watch, I adjusted something here. The same thing I did on the armpit of the front side. That is what I'm doing here on the center. Look at where this other one appears now on the zip allowance side. Remember when someone put on this dress, the net up dress, sometimes the thing used to drop. It used to have hunchback on that lace up. So the secret of doing it to look very fitted. You see it, something is out of that place. So we make sure that place will sit very well on the person's body. Thank you very, 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 very much for watching LOISYCA'S Fashion and Style. Keep it up. Here is my dart line. I have to cut it now. Remember, I did not cut the front side. On my back side, I have to cut it. Even if I'm going to bone it, I have to cut it because I'm going to put a panel on the back side, being the cross back. I'm going to create a cross back from this part now. I'm going to create a cross back. If cross back is needed, I'm going to create a cross back panel. I'm going to create a cross back panel, and then I'm going to put a modesty panel that will cover it up. In case I want to put a cross back panel, I have to put a modesty panel to cover the back up because it's not going to have zip. So on this part, I have a fitting out. I have to fit out on the dart line of the waist part of it. I take 1/2 inch, fit it out like a dart line, just as we used to sew dart line, the other simple dart line, fishing line. Yes, the name is fishing line. It is called fishing line. That is the shape you're going to take to trim out this back. So look at it. You see that something is out of that place. So when you join it together, it's going to bring your back shape out. It's not going to have hunchback or having a pop out on the back side. There won't be anything like pop out on the back side because you have already removed it when you're doing your cutting. Thanks for watching LOISYCA'S Fashion and Style. Yes, I believe going to watch more interesting videos of LOISYCA'S Fashion and Style, how I do my training. Anyway, we've been delaying on this platform just because I'm still waiting to have a good phone that have a very good camera, so that I'll be able to achieve this, so that you guys too can enjoy very well watching. So on this back side below, I have to trim out small thing here to make my blouse to sit very well, so that the back side will not be longer, to not drop too much. So this is it. You can trim out anything, but if it is a kind of half length of a dress, you can trim out like 1 inch or 1.5 inches, but this is a blouse, you don't need to trim too much. So this is my panel, my lace up panel. I have puzzled the three of them of side parts, the three of them. And of this netter panel, watch, I'm going to recut it again, just as I did on the first front part. I have to add 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and sketch it out.